When was the last time that you asked yourself, what do I want to be when I grow up? Today we're going to explore why it is never too late to ask yourself that question and why asking it often can actually help us lead our most joyful and inspired lives. Hello, my beautiful friend. I am so happy that you are here. I'm Shaina, and if you have been in this space before, you know that this is an uplifting channel where we are empowered to live our most joyful and inspired lives. And today I have a question for you. Are you who you want to be when you grow up? When we're around children, we seem to reflexively ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we ask them in this way that is very open-ended, sky's the limit, really all-inclusive. They can answer in any way that they want. We're like, yeah, absolutely. You can definitely do that. So they can say that they want to be a ballerina or an astronaut or the president or a football player or a rock star or anything. And we're like, yes, absolutely. You could absolutely do that. And we want to encourage them to dream. We want them to know that anything that inspires them is something that is valid and viable for them. We encourage them to think outside of the box and to think without parameters or condition, right? We don't say to a child, well, based off of what we know about your genetic makeup and your likely stature and height and size when you grow up, and based off of your current kind of shortcomings and the things that also seem to be talents of yours, what do you feel would be like a very practical choice of what you want to be when you grow up, right? No, we don't put conditions on kids when we ask them that question. We ask them in a way that they know anything is possible. Yet, only a handful of years later, we change our tone really drastically, kind of seemingly out of nowhere. All of a sudden in school, kind of in middle school and high school, we start speaking to now, teens, preteens in a way that starts asking those elements of practicality. We start letting people know about the financial aspect of things. That's not a really practical choice. That's not really something that most people succeed at. And we start beginning to very crucially begin limiting people's scopes actually very young. So we have this really weird inverse thing happening where as a kid you're like, you can be anything. Then a few years later they're like, no, but not that. Not that either. Probably not that. Most people can't do that. And like really start putting in those limitations. And oftentimes we're instructed to begin planning for and putting effort and energy and learning into a plan B, a practical plan B, before we've even tried a plan A, before we've even ever put ourselves out there to see, can I be a rock star? Can I be a ballerina? We're told to actually, let's put that on the side and let's put our energy into what is practical before we even really see what we are capable of, what we're capable of developing into, right? And now we're in a day and age where we are really starting to understand more and more the power of our minds, the power of our mindset, our belief system. What we believe we are capable of doing impacts our capacity to do that. What we think we are limited to do impacts our capacity to do those things, right? We know a lot more now about neural reprogramming and neuroplasticity and how much our minds have to do with our outcome. And I can hear what some of you are thinking. A lot of you are thinking, yes, Shaina, that is all very well and good. You are right that our minds and our belief system has a really large impact on what we are capable of doing and creating in our lives. And yes, may I remind you that there are the really practical, real things in the world, Shaina, as bills and having places to live and putting food on the table and things like that. And that maybe wanting to be a rock star isn't the most practical of ideas. And I hear you, and I'm not discounting any of those real world practical things. Those things really do exist. But what I think is missing in this conversation and how we treat our dreams and who we want to be and what we want to be when we grow up, what I feel is missing is a middle way. What if instead of one day saying, reach for the stars, follow your dreams, you can be anything, and then the next day saying, JK, let's be practical. What if explained to our children? What if I don't have children. What if you explain to your children? What if we as a grander whole said to our children, hey, you are capable. You can likely be just about anything that you want to be. And any and everything that we could choose, any path that we could choose, is going to take work, is going to take effort and consistency and learning and follow-up. On any and every path that you choose, there will be struggles. There will be challenges. It isn't going to be smooth sailing with anything that you choose. But if from that space of knowing, we could then really be encouraged to tune into ourselves and say, what do I want to be when I grow up? Knowing that anything I choose will require me to stick with it, will require me to feel like a failure before I feel like a success, that everything will have a learning curve to it, that I may or may not be naturally prone towards this thing. But knowing that landscape, what do I want to be when I grow up? I think we would find a lot more people following their dreams with their eyes open, realizing that struggles don't mean that you're on the wrong path or that you're not capable or that you're not talented enough, but that it means that we need to keep going, that there's more to learn. And asking ourselves that question, what do I want to be when I grow up, on a regular basis is actually a tool that helps us clarify if we feel like we're on the right track or not. If it's time to let something go, if it's time to move on to something else, if it's time to pivot. If you can go in and ask yourself, what do I want to be when I grow up? That helps inform how you react to whatever you're facing in this moment. If the challenge that I am facing is a hurdle, but it really is a hurdle in the way of something that I've really internally determined, this is what I want to be when I grow up, then that hurdle is something that I know that I'm going to continue to work to surmount. I'm going to learn what I need to learn. I'm going to grow in the ways that I need to grow. I'm going to keep going in order to get over that challenge, because I know that on the other side is being what I want to be when I grow up. If we're at a hurdle and we go, what do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe it used to be the thing on the other side of that hurdle. Maybe the more and more hurdles that I'm facing in this direction is making me really realize that maybe this isn't exactly what I want for myself. Not a maybe I'm not capable, right? Because if we already know there are going to be hurdles, then okay, it's just something that we need to continue to work through and grow through, right? Also, hurdles can be informative of if that is still the direction that we want to go. Is that who I wanted to be when I grew up? But now I'm starting to realize that this path with this particular set of challenges is maybe not exactly what I want to pursue anymore. Maybe there is a variation of this, of what I want to be when I grow up. Maybe we have taken the steps to do everything and to become who we wanted to be when we grew up. And maybe we were that. I've had this happen to me multiple times where I became exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it was wonderful and it was fantastic. But when I continued to check in with myself, what do I want to be when I grow up? I would notice that sometimes it was like, okay, I did that. I did the thing I wanted to do. I was that person. And now life and growth and evolution and change and shifts have made it that there is something new and different that I want to pursue. Maybe it's a slight variation of what I was already doing. Maybe it's all the way over there and it's going to take a brand new path and all kinds of new hurdles and challenges and struggles and learning curves, right? But one way or the other, these hurdles can help inform us, and asking ourselves that question, what do I want to be when I grow up, can continue to clarify for us if we're going in the direction that is good and healthy and right for us. Sometimes it feels like we are just knocking our heads against the wall towards the things we want to do. But if we check in, and that's still truly what guides us, truly what drives us, then we have the strength and the power and the trust to keep on going and to keep plowing through. Otherwise, it's okay to change our mind. It's okay to pivot. That's another aspect that we easily afford to children, is the knowledge that it's okay to change their mind, right? What they want to be when they grow up is very different when they're 5 than when they're 6, than when they're 7, than when they're 10, right? Those things change, as they grow, as they experience more of the world, as they meet cool people in their lives who have different kinds of professions, right? Those things are going to change, and we give them the space for that to be okay. We never look at an 8-year-old and be like, no. You said you wanted to be a ballerina, so this new dream of being a veterinarian isn't gonna fly. No, of course, we give them the space. We give them the space to grow. So what if you had the space to ask yourself, what do I want to be when I grow up? To know that in anything we choose, there will be challenges, there will be hurdles, right? But that whatever we choose is a valid and possible direction for us. What if we remembered that the sky is the limit, that there is so much that we can learn, there are so many ways that we can grow. There are things that we are not naturally good at. There's a lot of things that we are not naturally good at that we can become better and better and better and more refined at. We can become so much. The sky really is the limit for each of us. We all have different base capacities, different talents that come in. We're not on the same starting level. I'm certainly not saying that, but I do know that you are capable, and that there is so much more out there for you. If you can allow yourself to dream it, you can be anything you want to be when you grow up. And it's okay for you to change your mind of who you want to be when you grow up. If we gave ourselves the same permission as we give children to be able to grow, play, explore, be curious, try, fail, succeed, see, and change your mind, we would realize that it is never too late for us to ask ourselves that question of who we want to be, what we want to be when we grow up. Because we can change our mind, because we can try new things, and because anything we choose we can develop and become, and because any path that we choose is going to have so much for us to experience and learn, that means it is never too late to ask yourself these questions. It is never too late to start a new path, a new direction. Maybe it's something brand new. Maybe it's something you've been wanting to do since you were a child, but it is never too late to ask yourself and tune in and say, what do I want to be when I grow up? It is never, ever too late. So today, I invite you to ask yourself the question, what do I want to be when I grow up? I would love to know in the comments below if you believed that the sky was the limit for you, what things in your life would shift today? What would you stop doing? What would you continue on with that you know is carrying you towards your dreams? I would love to know. Thank you so much for spending this beautiful time here with me today. I'm already so excited to see you next week. In the meantime, I would love for you to take a listen to my cozy podcast, Daily Magic, which you can listen to here on YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, there are a myriad of ways that we can connect, and you can just click in the show notes below to find out all of the ways that we can connect and create magic, inspiration, and joy together. In the meantime, be blessed, be light, and be the magic.